It's Friday, May 15th, and this is now on H&N.
It has now been about 53 days since we've been closed, but who's counting?
Some Oahu retailers are reopening today under new safety guidelines.
This is a new normal for all of us.
Phase 4 is going to happen, but it's going to happen in a much better way for the American people.
House lawmakers vote on a bill to get more money in Americans' pockets. I'm Skylar Henry at the White House as President Trump shores up an effort to fast-track a coronavirus vaccine.
We're not surprised that they're reoffending.
Here at home, more than a dozen inmates granted early release amid the pandemic have been rearrested.
These stories, plus the developing details on an earthquake in Nevada and that typhoon in the Philippines, coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon, the time is now 12:26 and you're watching This Is Now. I'm your director-producer Jonathan alongside Ashley here. Today we're going to begin, like we do on so many mornings these days, with the latest numbers from the Department of Health.
Health officials are reporting just one new COVID-19 case today. We're told it's a Big Island resident, bringing the statewide total to 638. Hawaii's death toll stands at 17, and so far close to 90% of patients have been released from isolation.
Many merchants across the island opened their doors today for the first time in weeks. We got Mahealani Richardson at Ala Moana Center to show us what things look like right now.
Aloha everyone. Well, Ala Moana Center, the biggest shopping center in the state, is part of the big retail reopening for the island of Oahu. There are 350 stores here, and we're told about a quarter of them are opening today, and it continues to fluctuate. You know, we took a look around and we started walking down the main mall level, and there are people here. It's not overly crowded. Parking actually was really easy when the stores opened at 11 o'clock this morning. And the folks that we talked to said they were just excited to get out of the house. People said that they weren't necessarily going to buy anything, but they just wanted to look around. We can see that many of the national chains like Kiehl's and Tumi, Victoria's Secret, all of those are still closed. In fact, the four main tenants here at Ala Moana Center, Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, Macy's, and Neiman Marcus, they are closed. Macy's does have a sign on it that says it's planning to open next week. But we noticed that a lot of the local retailers that they are opening today. They have opened today, including Nahoku, which is a popular jewelry store. It actually has several locations on the island of Oahu, and the Ala Moana Center is the only location that it's opening. And so we talked to the district manager, and she said that she is very excited to open her doors today. She said she just couldn't wait to see her customers again. And the interesting thing about jewelry, you know, it is a high touch. You know, there's a lot of touching and feeling, and so they said that they are sanitizing every single piece, and they're allowing people to try on the jewelry, and after they do that, then they wipe it down with alcohol. So there are a lot of precautions here. Also, we noticed that there are barriers in the normal seating area, so people aren't really allowed to sit down. We also can tell you that the food court is open, but like at other restaurants, you can't really sit there, but you can take out. So a lot of changes here at Ala Moana Center. We also know that security guards are handing out masks if someone needs a mask. So there are changes here. People just kind of tentative, looking around, and a lot of the retailers are just hoping that more people will come as the days move forward. And we'll have more reports on the opening of Ala Moana Center and other retailers on our evening newscast and on our digital platforms. I'm Mahealani Richardson for Hawaii News Now.
Starting today, outdoor fields and courts at all city parks are back open for public use with limitations. One-on-one activities like singles tennis, singles pickleball, yoga, and Tai Chi are all allowed. But one-on-one or team sports like basketball is not allowed. Group exercise is limited to 10 people, but social gatherings on fields or courts are not allowed, and playgrounds remain closed. Hanauma Bay and the Coco Head Shooting Complex are also off limits. And starting this weekend, relaxing on beaches on Maui will be allowed. It's part of a 2-week pilot project to allow things like sunbathing, sunset watching, and meditating on beaches. Maui Mayor Mike Victorino says if beachgoers are compliant and new case numbers are low, the county will consider extending the pilot. Social distancing rules will still apply. Kauai has already announced its own pilot program to reopen Garden Isle beaches today, also with restrictions, including no family groups larger than 10 people.
Today at the White House, the president announced new developments in a race for a vaccine. Skylar Henry has the latest.
Further proceedings on this question will be postponed.
The House is expected to vote on two measures later this evening. One to allow lawmakers to vote remotely, and the other on the $3 trillion HEROES Act.
The Congress must honor its responsibility to the American people to lessen the blow of the coronavirus.
Both Senate Republicans and the White House have said the stimulus bill is dead on arrival.
Phase 4 is going to happen, but it's going to happen in a much better way for the American people.
President Trump announced new developments in Operation Warp Speed, the administration's accelerated push for a vaccine, hoping to have one by the end of the year. The president said that there are at least 14 promising candidates so far.
We're getting ready so that when we get the good word that we have the vaccine, we have the formula, we have what we need, we're ready to go, as opposed to taking years to gear up.
Truck drivers blowing their horns at a nearby protest could be heard throughout the event.
Those are truckers that are with us all the way.
As the president named an Army general and a former pharmaceutical executive to co-lead the initiative.
This mission is about defeating the enemy. We will defeat the enemy.
We will be able to deliver a few 100 million doses of vaccine by the end of 2020.
President Trump also defended the Abbott rapid point-of-care test, despite an FDA warning that the agency is looking into reports of inaccurate test results.
It's a great test. It's a very quick test, and it can always be very rapidly double-checked.
The FDA commissioner encourages anyone who suspects a false negative to get a second test. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
5 sailors on an aircraft carrier sidelined in Guam due to the outbreak have gotten the virus for a second time and have been taken off the ship. The resurgence of the virus in the 5 sailors on the USS Theodore Roosevelt underscores the behavior of this highly contagious virus and raises questions about how troops that test positive can be reintegrated into the military, especially on ships. The Navy says all 5 sailors had previously tested positive and had gone through at least 2 weeks of isolation.
More than a dozen inmates released from jail to limit the spread of the virus are now back in jail. Our Lynn Kawano reports on the frustration for both law enforcement and the office defending them.
Almost daily, law enforcement say they arrest someone who either violated the terms of release or reoffended. It hasn't even been a month since hundreds of defendants were let out to curb the coronavirus spread. But these were back in custody within days. Some committed new crimes. Others failed to show up for court proceedings, and a handful violated HOPE probation terms. Honolulu police even had to use specialized units to track down a few of them.
We're not surprised, to tell you the truth. We're not surprised that these people are reoffending.
Acting Honolulu prosecutor Dwight Nadamoto said his office wrote numerous motions in opposition and wanted the court to verify addresses and sponsors before the release. He believes many are homeless.
Because there's no verified resident that they required, we're not surprised that they're reoffending. Because they have no place to go, and a lot of them are drug addicts who still need drugs, and they need food, and they need money. So we're not surprised.
What's missing from this narrative is the 800 people who are back home safe with their families who are complying with the terms and conditions of the release.
Jackie Esser of the Public Defender's Office says many who were released would have been let go in the coming weeks anyway, and that preventing the spread of COVID-19 in overcrowded jails protects both the inmates and the entire community.
It's correctional officers. They bring it home to their families, their kapuna, their keiki, and it spreads to the broader community. So it's something that has to be done.
The release was part of a Supreme Court order after stay-at-home and social distancing measures were enacted. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Here at home, some lawmakers say the Ige administration did not move quickly enough to buy $20 million worth of thermal screening devices for Hawaii's airports. Senator Glenn Wakai says he's been urging the state to install them for more than 3 months.
I think it's frustrating. It's sheer incompetence. People's lives are at risk and we're just dragging our feet. That is totally unacceptable.
State officials say the federal government wouldn't let them buy the devices with money from the airport revenue. They say the money has to come from the legislature, which was in recess and is now only appropriating the money.
Travel restrictions are stranding babies born to surrogate mothers around the world. Holly Williams spoke to one family dealing with this.
In this clinic in Ukraine, there are dozens of babies waiting to be claimed. They were born via IVF to surrogate mothers, but after Ukraine closed its borders in March, many of their biological parents can't get here to be with their newborns.
We just sat around as a family and, we just hugged and cried, and then we just didn't go,
Joel and Michelle Leineke from Sacramento were 2 months away from their daughter's due date when Ukraine's borders were sealed.
The worst fear was that we wouldn't be able to get here, right? Or is it just going to be, what are we facing? And are we not going to see her till she's 6 months old?
We've probably had 80 to 100 couples to come to us desperate for help in getting to their children overseas.
Sam Everingham is a surrogacy facilitator who told us he's helping several American couples take a complicated land route into Ukraine with special permission from the authorities.
Some of them, they're in tears to me on the phone saying, I just want to be with my little one. It's a dreadful situation.
Joel left Michelle and their kids at home and made the nearly 48-hour journey to Ukraine, walking across the border from Belarus and then doing 14 days quarantine, making it out just in time for the birth of their daughter, Ember Rain, last week.
It's going to be quite a journey going back, but I can't wait to get home. I miss my family. It'll have been just a day short of 5 weeks when I land and get to see them.
Say hi, great big world. I'm ready for you. I've got my passport and I'm coming home to see my family.
But a Ukrainian official says there are over 100 stranded babies in her country whose parents haven't been able to make it in. Sam Everingham believes there could soon be over 1,000.
And the problem is mounting because so many babies are born each week. While the rest of the world stops, pregnancy doesn't.
Holly Williams, CBS News.
To severe weather now, at least one person is dead in the Philippines as Typhoon Vongfong rips through the country. Hundreds of buildings are damaged, and damage is said to be, quote, very extensive. Hundreds of homes and coronavirus isolation facilities have also been destroyed. More than 145,000 people are riding out the storm in emergency shelters.
And there, for our podcast listeners, I just want to describe this to you. The video we're seeing people walking through water in at least knee-deep water there. There was several buildings that are flooded, the streets completely flooded, so easy to believe that there is extensive damage, as Ashley just reported there. We have another natural disaster to talk about.
That's right. Back in the U.S., we're getting a look at the damage from a 6.5 magnitude earthquake that hit western Nevada overnight. Authorities have closed the 95 highway to inspect the damage. This happened about 225 miles northwest of Las Vegas, but the rumblings were also felt in parts of California and Utah. The quake struck at around 1 o'clock this morning, Hawaii time. There have been many aftershocks, including one that was equally as powerful as the initial earthquake. Now, the USGS says as many as 700 quakes with a magnitude of 3 or lower could strike the same area over the next week. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center tells us the quake has no impact on Hawaii.
And again, for our podcast listeners, what we're looking at here is new video into our newsroom of cracks in a rural highway there. They're several inches wide and several inches high even, depending on how the crack was shifted there on that highway. Pretty impressive video there and images that we're seeing there out of the southwest United States. We want to bring it back here at home, though. That's because after 7 weeks in the hospital and a last resort treatment for COVID-19, an Evatt Beach man is finally home in his own bed. As Ben Gutierrez reports, he talked to his doctor and things are looking up.
You can't see the smiles, but you can still feel the joy that Gawalofa Nua feels as he leaves the Queen's Medical Center. He was diagnosed with COVID-19 shortly after he returned from a construction expo in Las Vegas in mid-March.
Chest hurt and he was coughing and he just couldn't shake this. He had the chills, but when we checked his temperature, he had a slight fever.
Tanya Nua says her husband of 21 years had no health problems before. He was taken to Queens on March 26th, and his condition deteriorated.
Despite our best efforts, his lungs got worse. And his lungs got worse to the point where even the ventilator wasn't enough to support him.
Doctors put him on what's known as an ECMO machine as an absolute last resort.
So he needed ECMO, which basically takes the blood out of his body, runs it through an oxygenator, and brings it back to him and allows his lungs to recover.
We have nothing to lose at this point. If they're offering that, if they're asking that, then something's going on, and we need to do whatever we can.
After a week, he got well enough to be taken off the machine.
After that, they got him to medical ICU, and we're thinking the worst is over, and he's out of the woods. And I think even in the medical ICU, they almost lost him twice. His heart stopped.
This patient in particular, even after they came off of the ECMO support, developed significant presumed clotting that led to heart dysfunction and led to a prolonged recovery.
But Nua persisted. It's still hard for him to speak out loud, but his first action at home spoke volumes.
And the first thing that he did was go lay in our bed, because as much care and love and comfort as he got at Queens, he just was like, I want my own bed.
Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
Oh, thanks, Ben, for that positive story. How about some more? Some good medicine, folks.
That's right. Today is National Pizza Party Day. And
Where's
it's
my
the kind of
pizza?
party you can throw these days with social distancing by getting delivery. Well, National Pizza Party Day falls on the third Friday in May every year. Pizza has been around since ancient Greece. Italy cooked up the modern version as a cheesy flatbread, and the dish crossed the seas to Little Italy in New York in 1905. Now, Americans eat about 3 billion pizzas every year, and the most popular topping, can you guess, John?
Pepperoni.
Yep, nothing
Yeah, my
shocking there.
favorite.
It's pepperoni.
Yeah, my favorite for sure. Yours?
My perfect pizza has like Italian sausage and jalapenos.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
That'd be my style as well.
Mhm.
All right, do you know what we missed yesterday?
What?
National Biscuit Day.
Biscuit Day.
I'm in on this too. Red Lobster got in on the action because they have those famous cheddar biscuits.
Ooh, yeah.
Check out this Cheddar Bay Biscuit Benedict.
Ooh.
That's just one of the recipes the chain is releasing featuring their buttery biscuits. That list is on their website. It also includes pizza bites. You could take part of that for National Pizza Day today, and a variety of sliders showcasing those beloved biscuits. Oh, those are good.
Those look so good.
Those are so good.
The Bloody Mary.
Oh man, yes. Okay, let's get the show
It's
over.
lunchtime.
It's almost happy hour, right?
So TikTok, for those of you who don't know, it's a short-form video app where users can dance and lip-sync their way to internet stardom. Now, its popularity has been exploding over the last few months, with hundreds of millions of people downloading the app. Have you done it, Jonathan?
I have an account, used it like 4 times.
I don't have an account. So we will see. Max Foster guides us through the latest trend.
When a guy drops off shopping for his grandmother during lockdown, he asks her to do a TikTok dance with him. The same dance has been done many times before. But the secret to TikToking is making it your own. And if the lockdown had an anthem on the platform, this is it.
Bored in a house and I'm in the house bored.
The platform's biggest star, American teenager Charli D'Amelio, garnering 8 million likes with her take on the sound.
I'm bored in the house bored.
D'Amelio's profile reveals she has an astonishing 55 million followers and getting on for 4 billion likes on her videos, dwarfing any of the celebrities that joined the platform after her. Like D'Amelio, Australian Dante Muller found stardom dancing and lip-syncing in his bedroom, his mother getting in on the act in this video, which has been viewed nearly 5 million times.
Beforehand, I think everyone was kind of just doing it for fun, and now it's kind of like a way to escape. But now I think everyone's doing it, everyone and their grandma, just because they're bored sitting at home, so I think they might as well do something creative.
And the power of the platform lies in the fact that anyone can go viral if they hit the right vibe. British psychologist Julie Smith has gained hundreds of thousands of followers with educational videos like this.
Your brain can read a word faster than it can label a colour.
it's a lovely, light-hearted platform, and that's partly what drew me to it in the first place, is things that just give you that little lift, that just bring you a moment's joy or make you laugh for a moment. So, you know, those little moments aren't to be, you know, dismissed, because that can help you to get through a day.
Girl, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Even journalists are finding the joy on TikTok, trying to make sense of lockdown like everyone else. Max Foster, CNN, in social media's Wild West.
Okay,
I still don't get it.
You're such a good. You're a good singer. You're not even lip syncer. So they should have a karaoke app just for you.
Okay, I'd get down with that for sure.
Yeah, me too. I know, man. I miss karaoke. I do. I really do.
Same.
All right, guys, that's it for today. And so far, we're not hear of any official press conferences from the governor or Mayor Caldwell. I do believe Mayor Victorino is planning his normal 4 o'clock one still. So look for the Maui County website and Facebook page for that. Guys, that's going to do it for this Friday, May 15th. Happy birthday, Dad. Bye.